Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the Amateur Podcast where we talk about politics, ideologies, my hobbies, what have you. It's a little random but kind of just things that I find interesting. Almost all of it is from a Christian perspective, so just kind of keep that in mind. And on this video we are in the continuation of our Feminism is Garbage Part 3. So in the first video, if you missed that, I kind of just described what feminism is. In the second video, we kind of threw it back to some parallels that we can see in Adam and Eve in the garden. And now we're just kind of talking about the greater effects and why it is such a sleuth, like a slow working evil poison that's worked its way into our modern society today. So again, starting off, what it first does is it separates man from God. It tries to put everyone on the same playing field to include God, because what feminism does is it promotes the feminine, and so you'll see this with Jordan Peterson. I'll quote him a lot. I like his material. I don't think he's entirely unfounded. But Jordan Peterson, Kevin Samuels, a lot of these people, a lot of men who've made some observations about the modern society that we live in. But what you'll notice first about the feminine is that it is more like femininity. Females are more natured towards equality, so they're more natured towards sharing, towards nurture, towards giving, emotion-based, based a lot about feelings, and so they want everyone to feel as equally happy, as equally joyous, as equally beautiful, as equally what have you, whereas the masculine is more about logic, is more about reasoning, and it's more statistics and numbers based. And so the two aren't meant to be taken separately or alone. So again, the masculine, I think, supersedes the feminine in terms of how we need to rationalize logic in the world that we live in. Obviously, we need to kind of go based on logic and what reason does more than just emotions alone. However, you have some things like intuition that is more frequent and common in women, that is not necessarily logically based. It's kind of, this is what you would call the gut feeling. It's not necessarily anything that was rationally thought through, but it's the two that are meant to be blended together. The masculine alone, you get too cold, you're too hard. And I'm saying this from a feminine perspective, and the men might not think it's too cold or too hard, but it in practice, it is. It's too cold, it's too hard. It's where you get kind of the savagery of men. And then the femininity on the other side, you get to what we have in the leftism today, where everything is about feelings, and everyone needs to feel like they're doing something good, and everyone needs to feel like they're welcome, feel like they're loved, feel like everything, which, everyone is loved by God, so we'll start that there. But feminism is more about making everything equal, kind of flattening that hierarchy, trying to say that everything is the same when it's not. And so what we're about to get, I think, is just this implosion. It's like trying to compress a spring so that it's in one flat line, but it's gonna bound back up. That's a whole nother topic. So the effects of feminism on our society, besides just the basic breakdown of the family, which is honestly like the biggest breakdown, what you'll see is this destruction of marriages and destruction of what it means to be a family. And I think it was Jesse Lee Peterson who said this, and I thought it was quite profound. And it was, in life, we are always trying to have a family or imitate that family. So by that, it's like, even with a close friend, we'll say you're more than just my friend, you're my brother. And it's like you're like a motherly figure who has cared for you and nurtured you. It's like you're more than just some random woman. Like, I feel like you're my mom. I can, like, we crave the closeness that a family naturally is supposed to bring. And so we try seeking those familial relationships elsewhere, especially when we're not getting that from the home. But what feminism does is that it makes a mockery, I guess. Maybe mockery isn't the right word, but a mockery of what the family unit is meant to be, and what it's supposed to do, especially starting off with the changing in definitions or redefining what marriage actually is. And again, that's a whole other video. But secondly, what it does, and you'll see a lot of comments, and I can't quote it exactly, but they'll say that, feminism, like, women want the responsibility of the man, the privileges of a woman, and the accountability of a child, which is no accountability, because children aren't meant to, there's an age where children aren't meant to necessarily understand what all the things that they're doing, which is kind of the case. And I kind of mentioned it in the previous video. I don't know if it's the previous, but in a previous video, that feminism is vouching for the the equality of women through superiority treatment. And you'll see that in the severe favoritism of women in law and legal systems and court cases, where a woman commits the same crime as a man, like the exact same crime, if not worse, and they're usually charged with a lesser sentence just because of how women are typically viewed. What you'll also see is this degradation of what it means to be a woman. I mentioned this in one of my abortion videos, but it's like, woman is adult female human, period. And then you have to start with the sex. It doesn't reduce women to sex alone, because female, like, they're not just female, they're female and they're human. And so it's a matter of starting with sex and then going on to the later attributes. But feminism is just full of lies, and so it's trying to keep the blinders on people's eyes and not recognize and understand the physical, biological differences are there for a reason. I can't remember, I think it was in chemistry or something, but like shape and function, or shape determines purpose or function, or something along those lines. And feminism aims to destroy that. What feminism has done on society has completely demonized men and masculinity, which is, again, masculinity is things related to males, so related to men. So they've demonized men, and they've created such a huge animosity towards men that a lot of the things that I'm saying of men having that higher authority in the household, like, that's met with such repulsion and such venom, that all men are even, and especially with the white man, the cis white males who also happen to be Christian are super targeted. And what I view this, again, when you deconstruct the traditional views of the Judeo-Christian beliefs that founded America, you took away God, you put government as God, the law is now morals, and you have to put a devil somewhere. There has to be an evil to fight against, and what feminism has done is they've declared evil the cis white male, who is evil because he is cis and he is white and he is male, and for no other reason than that. And so I think those are some, like, the destruction of the nuclear family, the destruction of the marital system, and the sexual liberation and the impacts that it has on modern dating, where it's very much difficult to find a woman who has not been tainted by this ideology, who values the purpose of marriage, that values themselves and their bodies and their purity, and doesn't just treat it as an old rag doll, which, I mean, if you do, as a woman, do that, then that's your prerogative, but understand that not a lot of men like that. They don't necessarily value having a woman who's easily accessed by many other men. I mean, everyone wants to feel special, and so it doesn't necessarily feel special when they're man number 102 into your womb, of entrance into your room. And so, yeah, so very much tainted and destroyed the dating scene, as far as it's getting a lot more difficult to match traditional men with traditional women. They exist, but they're definitely not active on social media. Most of the traditional women are not going to be active on social media. But there has been some good things of feminism, which is exposing a lot of the manipulative nature of women and their emotions. Like, women are excellent at manipulating emotions. That's just, it's almost like, if you're going to draw parallels where men are great at manipulating physical strengths, because that's where that's where their strengths are. Women, their strengths tend to be in emotional and mental manipulation, which is quite unfortunate, because not a lot of men know how to see that. But you could if you followed God. Just saying, that is the solution. Is if your woman is not first following God, run far from her. Run far from her, okay? 'Cause that is nothing but the devil. Gonna lead you into a trap. Letting you know that. But anyway, I've digressed. I've gone farther than my 10-minute time limit that I've given myself. But that's kind of my overview of feminism as a whole. I think if we were talking about suffrage, which, as I mentioned in the first video, it was already the case, it's just making sure that each household, one vote per household, and not necessarily one vote on adult individuals alone. And those are just kind of my thoughts. So I'd love to hear what you say in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching me, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, the next video is going to be talking about marriage and dating in this modern world, and why everything is falling slowly to pieces. Okay, thanks for watching again. All right, bye.